Dwayne. Yeah. This is the outline with Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne with Kevin Dwayne.
What's up, you guys? This is the Outline Podcast, and I'm your host, Kevin Dwayne. This is your weekly discussion of all things entertainment, LGBT culture, and a piece of encouragement for everyone. I have a very special guest on the show today. It is none other than writer, actor, activist, and playwright, Mr. Tales, aka Tarik Daniels, but it could be either or. It should have been Tarik Daniels, aka Mr. Tales. You tell me.
Either one, like Brandon, Mr. Telltale, but yeah.
They're interchangeable?
Yeah, they're interchangeable, yeah.
Well, thank you for joining the show today.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. I have to tell all the listeners on the show that I am struggling with your first name. And before the show started, I was like, okay, I'm going to say this. And I just could not say it right. So I'm going to have you say your name for the audience for me.
So it's Tarik. Yeah.
Tarik.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, that's it.
I'm sitting here reading it and I feel like I'm saying it right. He's like, nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. So you guys heard the man. That's how you say his name. But he's an amazing author. He has a book out right now called No Bond So Strong. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
Tell me if this, let's pretend that this is your elevator speech. What do you want the listeners to know about your book?
Definitely that is a book about friendship between four Black queer friends growing up and trying to navigate, through the next steps of their lives. So it's a story of friendship and love between Black queer friends.
Very nice, very nice. And you're from Detroit, right?
Born and raised.
Born and raised, nice. And you currently reside in Texas?
Yes, Austin, Texas.
Awesome. How long have you been there?
I've been here 6 years.
6 years, nice.
Yeah.
I've been in Atlanta 6 years. I'm from Los Angeles, so
wow,
absolutely.
Yeah, I moved from Atlanta.
Oh, nice. So you lived here, okay? And also, like, have you've been here the last couple of weeks? It seems like I was like, wait a minute, he's here. We're doing this via Skype. We probably could have did this in person.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on in Atlanta and just promoting the book. So yeah, I've been there twice within the last month.
Nice. That's great that you're getting your work out there, and it seems that people are really receiving it well. Like I follow you closely online. I see you posting the well wishes from people and people letting you know what your book has done for them and people holding your book. So congratulations on really making an impact with your words.
Thank you. It's unbelievable, really.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what was life like for you? I'm sorry. Actually, how do you identify sexually, if you don't mind me asking?
I am a queer man, gay man.
A queer man. Okay, yes. Cool. So what was life like for you as a queer man growing up in Detroit?
Wow. Life for me was definitely being surrounded by friends more so than family. Growing up with a close-knit group of friends, about 20 of us, in a larger circle. And then, of course, the closer we got, it was like, 10, then, it was a real good core of 4 people. And basically, I was in high school because I left when I went off to college. So, catching the bus, in the city and, having fun with my friends, but also trying to navigate through making sure I graduated, had good grades and not let the, gay life, just suck me up dry and stuff. So it was just, that battle of, trying to, stay school, the straight and narrow way, but also, maintain, the life of my friends and, being gay in Detroit.
That's real. When did you discover a love for writing?
I discovered a love for writing. Probably the earliest memory is like middle school. I used to watch, like a lot of sitcom TV shows. And so I used to like create my own little shows and, like one day, my show gonna be on TV. So definitely like middle school. And then, I started doing theater in like high school, stuff like that.
That's awesome. And I see you wrote quite a few stage productions, correct?
Correct.
Nice.
Correct.
And you were also nominated for an award for that.
Yes, yes, yes.
That means you're writing some good stuff, man.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying. You know, it's my passion of theater. It's my love. So I definitely spend a lot of time trying to get a good script and stuff out there. I'm wanting to do more, nationwide plays. That's kind of the goal next. I've been doing mostly local stuff here in Texas. So.
Nice. So No Bond So Strong, has that been considered for a play, or are you considering switching the production, or are you just leaving it as a book for now?
I'm leaving it for a book. I get asked that all the time. I don't see that space for No Bonds in theater. I want to do other things, so I'm taking that and trying to, create other, mediums of entertainment versus theater. So I don't quote me on it, the right opportunity, the right opportunity came, of course, but it's not something I have planned like currently. No.
Okay. Awesome. So in your book, this is friendship among friends here. Tell me about your writing process. Like, how do you go about your character development?
Well, with the book in particularly, a lot of the elements are all real, events that happened at some point, whether it was with me and my friends or maybe some friends that I knew that I wasn't cool with, but I knew their story. And so with all this, basically 15 years of, being gay and being in a life, I had a lot of stories that I wanted to tell. So it took, time to try to figure out how I was going to tell these stories through 4 characters. And so I basically had to, I developed the characters first. Then I decided, what was important to these characters to elevate, their character. What would they need to say? What would they need to do? What would need to be their experiences? So I kind of narrowed it down, like what stories I wanted to tell, and then try to, make it one linear story amongst these 4 friends.
Nice. So what was your timeline? Like, how long did it take you to put together the entire, from inception to writing to editing? What was the entire timeline for you?
About 3 years. It was kind of difficult actually finishing the book because a lot of the stories were like stories that were emotional for me. It deals with like death, and I did lose friends growing up, so it took me to a place that maybe that was sad for me, so I couldn't stay in that place long. So I would write about that, and then I kind of like put the book down, because it was a moment that I didn't want to stay there. Mm-hmm. And then maybe months later, I'll pick it back up with another perspective, a little bit more, a different kind of energy than the sad energy I might have put it down with. So about 3 years as far as the writing process, and about a year into like the actual, a year of the 3 years of actually like getting it, self-published and, edited and, getting it branded and stuff like that.
That's not bad at all, honestly. Like, that's actually, that's a good amount of time. There's so many people out there that you're probably inspiring, because there's people who start books. They write the first page or the first chapter, wherever they are in their journey, and it doesn't always get to the end. So the fact that you had a period of time where even with you stopping and pausing and allowing time for self-care, you still got back to it and got it out.
Yeah, I was so determined. I swear, I was like, I have to finish, because I felt like that was like a missing piece to like really continue to move forward. I needed like a product. You can produce plays all the time, but sometimes, it's easier to navigate through like a tangible product. Mm-hmm. And, I've definitely felt like the book, and I think it was therapeutic for me as well. So I just I had to finish it. Like, if nothing else, I was going to finish the book,
Nice. So I picked up on something you said. You said that you had to, stop when things got too emotional or you needed to take breaks from it. So that means you have an idea of self-care. What does self-care look like to you?
Well, definitely. And it's something I'm battling with now. So I don't want anyone to think that, I'm always taking the right decisions with self-care. I think I'm pretty knowledgeable about the things that I need to do, being a mental health advocate. But I don't always do the right thing. But self-care for me is, just walking away from projects, walking away from deadlines, and just sometimes just doing nothing. And that is hard for me, and I know it's hard for a lot of, creatives or a lot of people that's, trying to, make things happen. But sometimes I just have to do that and just relax and just chill. And so I think that's the main thing, self-care for me, and something I don't do often that I just have to tell myself to do. Friends around tell me like, just stop, just, you don't have to do nothing. And I see them quotes all the time, like, as a creator, you don't always have to be doing something. It's easier said than done, but that's my form of self-care, just relaxing.
You're absolutely right with that. You don't have to be doing stuff all the time because you want it to be organic. You want it to be authentic. And I think when we force things, it comes out in the product, and you don't always want that. So it's good that you take these breaks. So in these breaks, what are some things that you do in your downtime? Like, what are hobbies or things that you like to enjoy outside of writing?
Well, definitely, I love the art. So I love going to like art galleries. I love to go on live performances. I'm in Austin, Texas, so with the live music capital of the world. So I love going to see shows. I love to take time to support other people and see their creative work. So theater, I love theater. So I love going to see plays. I love to go to the club and turn up, of course, and hang out and do all the things. But a lot of art is really, stimulating me, my mind and stuff like that. So I definitely like the arts, on my downtime, supporting everybody else and seeing, being visually or creatively stimulated.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So what led you to Austin, Texas?
Well, my sister was going to school here, and I visited, and then it just felt like a place where I can like tap into my creative, mojo. In Atlanta, I wasn't doing as much. I felt like a little stagnant. I was focused on more so business and, having fun. And it wasn't much creativity coming out of me. So I needed to go somewhere kind of away from what I've known. And Austin definitely was, nothing that I was familiar with. Never thought I would live in Texas. But being here allowed me to just explore, different sides of me, meet different kind of people and, really challenge myself and just, be simple, not worried about, what you got on or who and what you're doing. It's kind of like, you can kind of like live under the grid in Austin. And so it's been a perfect place to write and, chill.
I can totally dig that. I felt the same way when I left California and moved here. I think sometimes you have to get out of areas that you're used to or where there's too many distractions. So I completely understand kind of finding a silo elsewhere and really using that downtime and the lack of distractions to really knock out, really good quality work. So that makes complete sense. That's so cool. So with No Bond So Strong, what is the impact you hope to make?
Well, one of the biggest things that, that was not necessarily bothering me, but one of the reasons why I wanted to necessarily do this book and this kind of book was that I felt like as, gay youth of color is coming up, they don't have really much literature outside of scholarly things or, self-help things. We don't have a lot of Black gay storytelling, someone 15 years old, maybe question their sexuality, don't have a book, within the last, 10 years, enough books. I ain't gonna say a book, it's some out there. I just wanted to add to that. I wanted to impact the youth having something to read or people in college having something to read that identify, they could identify and connect with. So I felt there was a lack of storytelling for Black queer stories. So I just wanted to add to, what's already out there and continue to do that, because, I had Elan Harris, I had James Earl Hardy. Of course, we often go back to James Baldwin, which is still relevant to this day. But when you Google it now, you're not going to get many Black queer stories out there. I think we have a big wave of, self-help and reflections. And a lot of people are saying a lot of things to, for Black queer empowerment. But, sometimes it's good to just pick up a book and go to another world that you're not a part of and identify and connect. And that's what I really wanted for it to impact people that way.
I absolutely agree with you on that. I was just talking to one of my good friends about that. I was like, you know what, there's an influx of self-help and memoirs and things of that sort. And that's great for the sake of healing. But yeah, you want that world. Sometimes you just want to read for enjoyment. And then you can also find yourself in these fictional places. And so that's awesome. And I was actually going to ask you that next. I want to say, what other authors inspired you? Like who did you read growing up? So outside of Elin Harris and James Bond, were there any other authors that you really connected with growing up?
As far as not queer, of course, I was a big, Eric Jerome Dickey fan, Terry McMillan. I remember reading Mama when I was like 8 years old, and I was way beyond. I should have been reading that book, but it was really, interesting. I just love, storytelling. I definitely love storytelling that you could relate to, in some kind of way. And so all of those authors definitely, impacted me. That I enjoy reading.
I definitely share some of those similarities. I remember my first time I read a book by Eric Jerome Dickey, and it blew my mind because I didn't know a book could take you there.
Yeah.
It was like a road trip, and I was so bored. And then we stopped at like a Walmart, we just stop on road trips. And I just saw this book, and I just asked him if I can get it. My mom's not going to argue with me about a book. She's like, sure,
Right.
And so I started reading it, and then I was just glued. I was like, I didn't know that a book could do this like in this way, because before then it was a school book. So it was like, okay, you read like Lord of the Flies and The Great Gatsby and all that stuff. Okay, great, that's cute. But to see a book dealing with African Americans and that was sultry and had like certain themes, you're like, oh wow, this is lit.
Yeah.
And just the power of that, I think, will open me up to the beauty of writing as well and reading, because it's like, and so when Elin Harris came along for me, it was like, okay, now I have this and I'm really represented in it. It's not me just reading about these straight characters. I have someone to write about these gay characters, and now I can really see myself in it. So that's definitely a movement.
Yeah, definitely.
So as a creative, you write, and you do. Is there any other avenues that you want to explore with your brand?
Well, yeah, definitely. I'm working on right now the next chapter, No Bond, So Strong, which is a scripted podcast.
Nice.
So I'm in development of that right now, and hopefully when I get that, finished, I'm going to try to shop around to some some queer Black mediums, Slay TV,
I was just thinking,
yeah.
I was like, as soon as you said, I'm like, Slay TV, yes.
Slay TV, are you listening? And it's, some other ones out there, I'm just trying to, that's why when people was, asking about the play and stuff, I was like, well, there's a few other things that I kind of want to do that's kind of now that's different than what I've been doing. And I think the scripted podcast was really something. I'm a podcast fanatic, whether it's, the murder mysteries or whether it's, conversationals but I really love, I came across this one called Black Widow, and like, I was hooked on that one. I'm like, wow, you could tell a story like, like the 1940s, CBS radio stations.
And it's so
good.
So it's so good.
It got me intrigued. So I was like, I want to do that. And so, that's what I'm in development right now, turning the book into like a continuation of the book into a scripted podcast.
That's amazing and very relevant. You're very smart to do that. So I'm very excited to hear when it comes out. I can't wait to see what you do with the characters. And that's really, really dope, because I think what's so amazing about podcasting too, and just audio format, it is reaching backwards. But I always think about like how the generations before us, like our parents used to listen to like AM radio. And we were like, why are you listening to talk radio? But our podcast has become our talk radio. And I find myself wanting to listen to people talk all the time now. I'm like, okay, I need a podcast. I need something to keep, even if it's an audiobook, it's become, just like this wave of knowledge. And so it's very smart for you to do that. And also the working class person, they want things to get through their day.
Yeah, that is so true. I'll be at work, I go through all of them, I listen to podcasts all day at work, really. That's what I do. You can't be, video, that's what I think what keeps me from YouTube as much, because when I'm at work, that I don't have I'm not going to just be watching videos all day at work. So it's easier to be kind of discreet, still be professional and listen to your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a convenience for the working class.
Absolutely. I will say, as a podcaster, it does put a lot of pressure on, because if this show is ever late or if I'm skipping it, people are like, wait a minute now, you messing up my routine. I'm like, I don't want to mess up your routine now. I'm sorry.
Be a list. You have a list and you wait on the new episode. Like, where's the episode?
Yeah, that's how I am on Thursdays with the read. Like, I'm always refreshing. Refreshing all day until it shows up. And I'm like, okay, they come on around 11:30, 12.
It is fun though, because it is like a thing to do. It becomes part of your life, really, when you think about it. It's like TV, but not having to be watching TV.
And I think it also provides a level of connection. And I'm gonna stretch this out a little bit, but follow me. I feel like we've lost a lot of connection with people with technology. And if you realize everyone is texting all the time and people aren't actually talking on the phone anymore. And I feel like in a weird way, podcasting is providing that almost kind of phone element where you're just hearing people express themselves, and it's almost like a connection that's there. And I think it's feeding that need that people don't even realize that they desire.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like just hearing someone's voice. And we've really cut that out over the last decade.
Right.
Like,
that's
talking
true.
on the phone is so foreign to people. So it's like, and I feel like podcasting in a way does that, because there's a warmth in hearing people's voices and interacting. And because of technology has separated us so much that we're not always getting that. So it could be a part of that too.
And that could be the reason why, podcasts aren't so successful, because we have lost the human touch, and lost the connection with people on a daily basis. So, I think that was a really good point you made.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. I do. I talk about it all the time though with like technology. It's like I love technology, but it does concern me like how we just keep getting new things that are separating us further.
Yeah,
like literally. Like I remember, and I think that's the blessing of being an aging millennial is that I remember going to concerts with no phones,
right?
And like legit just watching the show, and now you're literally watching the show through someone else's phone that's in front of you, and you're like, oh my god, this is really a thing. I mean, it's great that we have access to cameras for obvious reasons, but it also has a bad side too. So it's just it's a double-edged sword with technology, and we keep coming up with things that are separating us further. I mean, video clips are less than a minute. Everything has to be delivered very quickly. People don't want things to be too long. It's just like we're losing even something I think that drove me crazy is if you notice now online when an article appears like on Facebook or something, it tells you the average read time on there now, because people are like, I don't want to read something that's longer than 2 minutes. So it has to tell you how long the read is going to be, because if it's anything longer than 5 or 6, people are like, that's too long. And I'm like, damn, we don't even like reading anymore. Like everyone's in a rush. Everyone's busy. Everyone's like, nope, this is too much. Can't do it.
Yeah, the short attention span. Like you said, everything comes so fast. The way things are produced, you have to keep people's attention. You have to, offer content, such at a rapid speed. We think, like you just said with your podcast, like, hey, every week we want your podcast, you know what I'm saying? And that's just become part of our culture. And so, that is interesting that they tell you how long it take you to read an article.
And it's wild. It's wild. Well, even when I read a lot of books on Kindle, and because I love the access of that. Once again, technology. I love an actual book in my hand, but I also like saying, hey, I want to enter a new world today in reading. I can do it instantly on Kindle. But like, even though it tells you how much time you have left in reading the book. It tells you how long how many pages you have left in the chapter. They even changed the scrolling to where you don't actually have to flip the page. You can just scroll up. You just scroll.
I just noticed that too. You can just scroll up. I'm like, oh, okay,
it's an
like
eternal scroll. It's an eternal scroll. And you're just like, I'm gonna keep scrolling until I get to the end, I guess. And it's on one side is great for the user feature, you know, like you're enhancing it and making the experience better. But I'm like, damn, we are literally getting so lazy with everything. Like there's been times like I've been around people who still have DVD players and still have DVDs, and they're like, oh, I want to watch this movie, but I don't want to get up and put this DVD in. Let me see if I can find it online real quick. And I'm like, wow, you own it. It's right there.
It's right there. That is so crazy.
To scour the internet or YouTube or whatever to find it, because that's just too much work. And it's just first world problems. Like,
yeah, okay. And that is funny.
It's funny, but it is what it is. Like, even with the podcast, there's the attention span thing. I have some people who will say, oh my God, I love it when your show is 30 minutes because I can listen to it on my way to work and be done. But then there are some people who say, oh, I love it when your show is about 2 hours, an hour, 2 hours, because I'm at work and it helps me get through the day. And I'm just like, which one is it? I don't know. Like, what am I supposed to do? So I kind of just toggle it. I'll just see how things operate, because people are also very different. But it is very much an attention span thing. There's a part where people say you're not giving us enough, but then there's also where saying you're giving me too much. And it's always interesting finding that divide, which also is a question for you. When writing your book, did you have like an idea in mind how long you wanted it to be?
I wanted it to be, based on even this conversation, an easy read. I wanted it to be around 200 pages or less. I did not want it to be, because I knew that it was a continuation, and I didn't want it to be where like people didn't feel like they can get through the book. I actually, like, again, I was trying to, you know, reach the masses. And so it is definitely an easy read. And that was kind of my intention. You know, I wanted to get to the story that people want to know and keep it moving. So yes, I wasn't trying to do like a Toni Morrison 500 page, bio, pick book. But yeah, I mean, you're right. People, attention spans, but then it is like, then you do get the people like, oh, I want more, you know what I'm saying? So, even as an author, I've heard both. Like, oh my God, I was able to read that in, one night or 2 nights. And then some people like, oh, I'm ready for the next one already. I'm like, wait a minute, calm down. I can't just write books, that quickly, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, so I guess that's just really the satisfying the consumer or people goes both ways, like you're saying. Some people want it longer, some people want it shorter. I feel like when you were saying like both, I think because sometimes I want to listen to a long podcast, depending on the day, and sometimes I do want to listen to a short one. So I guess it just depends on my mood mainly.
I mean, that's what it is. Society is very moody, and you just and I think that's why it's just best, as you said, it's best to just do the work that you want to do, and you'll find your tribe that enjoys your work. But you can't force something. Like, I can't force a show to be 2 hours. I also can't force it to be 30 minutes if there's something that I want to be complete about.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of having 6 parts of the same topic. Like, so it's like, I want to complete this, and some things allow for longer conversations. So it totally makes sense. But one thing I have learned though, I don't think we have to be concerned about writing and reading ever going out of style though attention spans are different, writing will always be respected. Yes, the medium has changed. We don't necessarily do paper books as often. We don't do newspapers as much as we used to because of technology. People are still reading, though. People are still writing. So it's not something that's going to ever be a lost art, because if it became a lost art, we would have a lot of illiterate people around, and that's just not good for anyone. So it's definitely, I think, a safe space to be in. So if you're out there listening and you're a writer, keep writing. Keep doing you. Don't be concerned about the consumer so much as you should be concerned about the message you want to relay and the story you want to tell, and being organic to yourself. And I think that's what draws people, is people just want real people. They want to connect. They don't want things that are conjured up just for the sake of money, really. So
Mm-hmm.
there's that. So you said that you said there might be you're developing a podcast, a scripted podcast. So are there going to be future books, maybe?
Definitely. This was definitely just the beginning. I'm looking towards like the end of the next year, or maybe 2020 to have a book. I'm not going to rush it, like we were just saying, organically. But I know that I've already written the first line for the next book, so it's definitely a sequel coming. And a lot of all of my work, I've decided that it's going to be a lot of my work because it's heavily on Black queer storytelling. I feel like I want to create this world of the stories that I'm telling, and branch off to different things, but keep it amongst this world. I want to create like this world, these people, these friends, and they branch off into other things, short stories, but all coming from the center of my first book. And so it's kind of like, how like, remember Eli Harris books, how he had every book and it was all, kind of like some of the stories were different, but like one character would pop up. That was in the first one.
I love
and
that.
The second one. If I want to do that, but not just with books, like I'm doing a podcast, I want to, venture into short stories that's a spin off from the stories that I'm creating, and then figure out other different ways to tell this story and different kinds of people. Because I wanted to be very representative of various types of people, in the the Black queer, circle. I don't want to just tell just one story. And that was very important for me. Why I also wanted to tell this story, because so often, we always hear about the DL lifestyle. And that creeps up in almost every, Black queer story that we know, whether, Moonlight, which I love. But again, it kind of puts you on that same idea with this guy who didn't know about himself and he was betrayed and, that different stuff. I really want to emphasize that for me and like my friends growing up, we were out. I was out and gay at 14 going forward, and so many times we don't hear the stories of what it is to just live gay and be gay, even at a very young age. What does that look like? It's not something about being DL all the time. I feel like we have been pigeonholed in that, stereotype of the Black queer storytelling that you have to tell the DL side of it. But what if everybody was gay? We were all gay. I didn't have any DL friends. I didn't even know DL people until I got way grown. When I was younger, we were just all out. And what's wrong with being Black, gay, and out? And so
I appreciate, and that's the word. I appreciate that. That's the truth. It's the truth. Like, yeah, that, and even with Elin Harris, it was always a level of like, oh, there's this guy who's not out. I mean, his main character claimed bisexuality forever. We like, but you ain't never with no women. Stop.
Right. The football player and Brazil, stuff like that.
Basil, yeah.
And even with since I've been saying I want to develop a scripted podcast, I've been listening to trying to see what's out there, and I ran across Issa Rae, Fruit. Have you listened to that one?
Yeah, I have listened to Fruit. I've not gone through the whole thing. It was a little hard for me to connect with, but I did listen like the first two.
And it was that same rhetoric, and so that's why I'm just like, as much as I appreciate it, we have to push, the Black queer storytelling to a more truthful and honest space. Yes, there are DL guys. Yes, there are bisexual guys, and yes, that is a part of the LGBT umbrella. But tell the stories of the ones who didn't have that option to be DL.
Right. And also make it less salacious. I feel like when people talk about Black gay men, it's always salacious, always a scandal. It's always like a hush hush thing. And it's like, yeah, that's not everybody's story. Like, some people, like you said, are just out and just living their life. So I feel you on that. So I commend you for wanting to create things that represent that, and they're not so monolithic. So that's super, super dope. But also, I like that you're creating a universe of things and interconnected platforms, because for someone who is a fan at the beginning, you're actually creating a whole world for them. So how amazing would it be to be a fan of yours and then you get this book Then you get this podcast that connects to the book. And then you get another short story that does that. Then the short story goes to another book like that. You're creating this world that people will really grow to love. It's kind of like how people go up for like Marvel and DC comics. It's like, it's a whole thing where this is from this one, this is for and you're doing that for your fans and your followers. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the idea of, doing what I can do, and then, add to that, creating that world of entertainment with characters and situations that people can identify. What I know, I'm 33 years old. I've been out for a very long time, so I have a lot of stuff to say, and a lot of stories in my mind. And so what other way is to keep it all connected and, try to create that fan base and the buzz and, the anticipation, it kind of keeps you on your toes and it kind of keeps you focused because I never have to worry about where I want to go. It's more so how to get there. And so,
that's a word. That's
funny. Yeah, I guess.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Okay, so this is great. So tell people where they can find you online.
Definitely on Mr. Telltales on everything. So that's MisterTelltales.com. Mr. Telltales on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and it's a good Tumblr. It's not
oh man,
it's not the, right. It's not the Tumblr after dark. Well, it's not after dark anymore, but
right, it's just Tumblr now. Right?
It's just Tumblr, right?
I just found out they had regular stuff on Tumblr. I said, oh, they have,
right.
They have like real stuff on here, like poems and stuff. Oh shit.
That amazes you when you be on there and it pop up like, oh, that's a nice picture. Right. You know what I'm saying? You go into like real art and stuff like that. You're like, oh, I never knew.
Or it interrupts what I was doing. I'm like, wait a minute. What is this don't go with the theme.
Right. That's not what I came out here for. Nice picture though.
Right. That's beautiful. Nice roses. Well, I'm going to have all that info in the show notes so the listeners can just click on the links and be sure to connect with you and also get your book and figure out where you're going to be. Because listen, you're active. You are active. So I'm sure you'll have updates of where you'll be next and that'll be great. But thank you so much for being on the show. This is a really cool talk that we had about your stuff and I wish you the best.
Thank you, man. And thank you for having me. And congratulations on your show. I mean, you're really working and consistent and I'm following you as well. So.
Thank you. Listen, I'm out here. I'm trying. But I appreciate it. Well, guys, that has been the Outline Podcast. Make sure you are subscribed, sharing it with your friends. Please rate and comment and also follow me on all my social links, which you can find in the show notes. And if all else fails, you can go to www.kevindewayne.com. And with that said, I'll talk to you all next week. Peace out.